So tell me when the minute is up and people are back, okay?
Okay, rooms are closed and people should start. Okay.
Yeah, they have to come back now. They get sent back. Okay, so you had an experience of talking about a value that was important to you and imagining yourself using it. I did this with somebody in a room, and she was imagining Christmas and what Christmas was going to be like. I'm sure you imagined all different kinds of situations. But now I would like to run a little poll and ask you some questions about that experience. Agatha, can you launch the poll?
Done.
Okay, so all you have to do is there's 3 simple questions. Did you see your partner as caring as you listened to them? Did you experience yourself as more caring when you spoke? And do you think that you will act in this way in your future event? So just choose one and they will add them up. Yeah. I'll give you another 30 seconds or so. So far, we have just half of the people who've responded.
Yes.
Alice, do you see the results on your screen, or I have to share those?
I do not see any results on my screen.
Okay, thank you. Okay, we're going to close the poll.
I see the results now here. I do see some results, right?
Yeah, you're a co-host.
Yeah.
You're
Okay.
a co-host. I asked Alice because she's not.
All right.
So what, I think if I end the polling, the results come up, but they're fairly, I'll tell you them, just in case I lose them and I can't see them anymore. 92% of you were able to see the other person as more caring. 79% of you experienced yourself as more caring as you were speaking, and 96% of you believe that you will act in this way at your upcoming event. So now does this get, oh, I see, I can share the results. Yeah, there's the results. Yeah. So as you can see, this is a fairly powerful, quite brief. You spoke for 5 minutes, you listened for 5 minutes, and you were able to stimulate your own caring values in that time. And just get rid of this and go back to sharing my screen again. Sorry. So I have, as always, spoken more than I intended to about things. So I'm just going to give you the digest version of these next few results. The first result is that priming works. It worked for you in both situations in which we did it. We gave you very short time to imagine things, imagine yourself as caring, and you indeed were, by your own poll results, felt more caring at the end of it and intended to act on that caring. There are other things that are important here, and that is there's something called the seesaw effect, and I alluded to this before. So as you make your caring values stronger, these green ones over here, these pink and red ones over here get weaker. So, and vice versa. Now think about how the world is organized. There's a great deal of advertising, there's an awful lot of information out there that tells us we should care about appearance, we should try to be more beautiful, we should try to be more successful, we should own more stuff. We're constantly primed in that direction, which weakens our caring values, according to this seesaw research. So it's important to keep priming ourselves, keep doing these little kinds of things. There's also something called bleed over effects. These are interesting studies, but I don't have time to talk to you about them. But basically what it says is if I prime these values here, these ones also get stronger, and so do these ones. In other words, it bleeds over, just like, you know, that horrible feeling when you spill that glass of red wine and you watch it bleed into your white carpet. Your values also bleed over, and they bleed over into the ones that are closest to them on this circle. Practice makes values stronger. Again, it's the priming effect. We prime, they get stronger and stronger. The more we repeat an attitude or a value, the stronger it gets. I want to tell you this one because it's about Greece. And I think it's an interesting study. This was a study done after 2008. So you may remember the economic crisis. Lots of governments were thrown out. In Greece, Papandreou's government came in 2008. And in Ireland, Kenny's government came in, both because of the crisis. And what they wanted to find out is, do values ever change at the national level? And what they did is they used this European Values Survey, which is done anyway, to do a baseline of both Irish and Greek values. It wasn't only Ireland, Greece. I'm using them for the sake of comparison. They did it all across Europe. But Ireland, Greece were outliers in this. And so they looked at the citizens' values, and then they looked at the values of the government. And they did this in an interesting way. They asked political scientists to rate, they gave them a bunch of values type actions. And they said, rate this government, the government of Kenny and the government of Papandreou, on their intrinsic and extrinsic values. And there's quite a bit of agreement among the raters. And what they found is that Papandreou's government had more intrinsic values, and Kenny's government had more extrinsic values. And this is, and then at the next European Values Survey, they looked at the values of the populations of Ireland and Greece. And what they found was the people moved. They moved and they followed their government in terms of their values. So it's very important how we expose ourselves. It's important who we elect, obviously, but it's important how we expose ourselves, because we are exposed constantly. We are constantly primed. And we are primed in all kinds of ways. Reading newspapers, seeing ads on billboards, on our computers, social media, talking to our friends, reflecting. All of these things are primes that happen to us all the time. But we can do some very conscious priming. And I want to talk to you just in the last few minutes we have today about an initiative that I have begun with a group in Greece and now a group in Canada as well, to actually intentionally try to prime caring values. And the initiative is called The Hero Next Door. It's on both Instagram and just recently on YouTube. And we prime caring values in a number of ways. We prime self-care values on Self-Care Mondays. We give you prompts and ways to take care of yourself, just little suggestions. Remember, a little bit of prime makes a difference. So just logging on and reading something can make a difference to you. We prime you for things like social justice values. We prime you for, 5 ways to be more altruistic, 4 ways to show gratitude, that kind of thing. Little snippets to help you move in caring ways, little bits of advice. We have events. We just had an event for World Kindness Day where we gave away some sweatshirts and asked people to share their thoughts on kindness. So those are all on Instagram. We've also recently moved, as I said, onto YouTube, and this was a migration. We've been doing interviews, which are really the center of what we do since the beginning. In the interviews, we interview people who we call our heroes next door. Now, hero is a big word, and sometimes people we want to interview say, I'm not really a hero, but these are ordinary, everyday people, the people who might live next door to you, who volunteer for a charitable organization, who do jobs that reflect caring values. I'm sure many of you are psychologists. You reflect your caring values in your job every day. People who turn their jobs into opportunities for caring. We've interviewed people like that, and people who see a problem and put their caring to work. So we do these interviews. We ask them what you do. We ask them why you do it. They tell us a little bit about how they came to think this was an important thing to do. And we also ask for their advice. If somebody else wanted to do something like what you're doing, what would you suggest for them? And so what I'm going to do in the next couple of minutes is just tell you a little bit about a few of our heroes. I can't go through all of them, and I'll just tell you a little bit. This is Tegan and Keisha. They're twins. And they started a movement called Live Life Unfiltered. And the idea was they were seeing themselves putting a lot of filters on their social media, presenting themselves in very successful, happy, prestigious ways. And they recognized it was really bad for their mental health, which is what we've been talking about today. And they started to this social media site called, it's an Instagram account called Live Life Unfiltered, to educate young women about how social media can impact their lives. And they actually ran an event last year called As She Is, where they got a whole bunch of influencers to come out without their makeup and to show themselves unfiltered and talk about how filtering your lives hurts you. And they got 100,000 people, or 100 million people who looked at this event As She Is. So that's an example of some heroes who actually made a big impact, but not all of our heroes do. Some of our heroes are people who, like Sophia, who started Monthly Dignity. She didn't start it, so she's the vice president. Monthly Dignity gives menstrual products to people who can't afford them each month. And they get donations from companies and they package them up. This is a packaging party picture you're looking at. And Sophia, the thing that she said to us that she would want to have shared is, it gives back to me much more than I give. And this is a theme from the people we talk to, is that living their caring values in this way helps them at least as much as they help other people. This is Zach. Zach does a yearly event with his friends where he does a 24-hour exercise challenge. So they go online, they do exercises for 24 hours, and people support them. You know, if you do an hour, I'll give you this much money. If you give two hours, I'll give you that much money. And if they make it to 24 hours, they get the most money. So they do this exercise challenge and they donate the money to Extra Life for Kids. This is Rochelle. Rochelle runs a business called Daisies and Dahlias. It's a gardening business. And every week they do flower bouquets for local restaurants and businesses and that sort of thing. It's one of the things they do. Every week they take those bouquets, which are still quite beautiful, and they create a stand in the market and they give them away to people just to make their lives richer and more beautiful. She also helps elderly people maintain gardens that they can no longer care for. Another hero is Sabrina. Sabrina's father died of brain cancer, and now she's a teacher. Every year she gets her grade 6 students involved in walkathons and car washes and events to help raise money for the Montreal Neurological Institutes for research into brain cancer. And not only does the money go to the neuro, but the grade 6 students learn the value of caring and get involved in caring. And finally, this is Stephanie. Stephanie is also on social media. She started a site called Self-Care Spotlight, which is aimed at teenagers. It was during the pandemic. She recognized how much kids were suffering being at home. And this is just advice for kids on how to have better mental health. And she posts regularly on that. She runs it all by herself. So those are just a few of our heroes. As I say, they're all people who are just like the people you meet every day. We interview them, we talk about them on Instagram, we show their videos on YouTube. And we think it would be great if you would like to join us, if you'd like to follow us. We're always looking for followers, or share our posts with your friends. Because our posts offer you a way to regularly connect with your own caring values, and also by sharing to show other people that you care. So I said I was going to tell you two things today, and I hope I have. Living your caring values is good for you. And there are ways. Hero is one, but there are many ways. And I think that the experiences you use today give you other ideas about how to use your caring values. And I thought I would finish today, not with me talking, because I do way too much of that, but actually with one of our heroes. And I'll show you a little excerpts from one of the interviews. This is Mary. She's a Greek girl, and she's in Scotland. And this is the highlights from her interview.
The organization is called Who Cares Scotland, and it advocates about care experience.
We're listening to that. We're not seeing it, right?
Oh, you don't see it?
I don't. I see you.
Okay. Let me start again.
Maybe you have to say share video.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Now, yes. Now we will see her.
Okay. Now you see her, right?
Yes.
Yeah, but now she's frozen.
Indeed.
Damn you, Mary. And she's so much fun.
Okay.
Oh, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this. I don't know why it's doing that. It worked so well.
Well, push play there now.
I am pushing play. Maybe she'll start at some point, but I said I would leave 10 minutes at the end for questions. And so I think I will stop this share and come back on the screen. And just if you want to ask a question, you can put it in the chat box, of course, and we're happy to do that. But if you have questions that you just turn on your microphone and shout them out, and about anything that has to do with what we talked about today. And while I'm waiting for you, because it typically takes people a little bit of time to get their questions together, I just want to give a shout out to the people who helped me put Hero Next Door together. There's a group of volunteers from Greece, from the positive psychology program at Pantheon, and they were my initial heroes. They helped me out. They got me started. I knew nothing about social media, and they've been terrific. And now I have a group of people in Canada as well who are also helping. And should you want to be a volunteer and help and show your caring values that way, of course, we welcome that. But for now, let me take your questions.
So we have the first question, Marilyn. It's in the chat. Do bad experiences help creating new values? Nasos asks.
The bad experiences. Well, yes, they do. Not necessarily with caring values, but all of our experiences kind of prime us. And we develop our values as a result of that. We used to think that values were really developed in childhood and remain stable in adulthood. The research that I suggested to you about Greece, and also about the priming research about the Seesaw Effect, indicates that our values are constantly in a little bit of motion. So our experiences form our values, both our good and our bad experiences, and those can change. Just okay. Shout out your questions if you want to.
Do you want me to give the questions, Marilyn, from the chat?
You can. I'd like to see the people because I just want to know if I'm answering their question or not. So if you have a question, please say it. That would be great. And maybe you could put the screen up so I can see the people instead of just me.
Well, I have, yes. If you, I have stopped spotlighting you. You can.
Okay, so we're going to gallery.
Gallery,
okay.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So the next question then.
Okay, so the next question is, can there be a life meaning focused exclusively on self? If not, what is the contribution of extrinsic values to life meaning? From Evie.
Well, you can have any, we all have most of these values. the question is, which ones do we emphasize and live out more fully? So yes, you can have only extrinsic values. You can live out your extrinsic values. There's some quite compelling research that materialism, which is an extrinsic value, the materialism makes us unhappy. There was a Dittmar in 2014 did a meta-analysis of a couple of hundred studies that indicate this. So materialistic values don't typically make us happy. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that having a nice car or nice clothes or something is going to make you unhappy. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that making that important to you, making that the meaning of your life, tends to make you unhappy. Did I answer that question?
Maybe I can write in the chat.
Okay.
Yes, thank you. Okay, so let's go to the next question. So, not sure if you already covered this, I was thinking, but how are the reactions of the people who receive care, and how do you react when reactions are not polite or grateful?
Okay. Yes, you're taught. So there's what I do and there's how you receive it. And of course, when we show caring, we hope that others are going to receive our caring in the spirit that it was offered, are going to appreciate it. And it's disappointing when what I do is not received well, or that's how I would feel about it. I'm not talking about research now. I don't know of any research that actually speaks to this question directly. What I would say, however, and I do clinical work and I do a lot of clinical work with values. And what I do with people who bring this to me, I tried this, I was trying to be this way and it didn't work and they didn't like it and they said something mean to me and you know, my bosses misunderstood what I was trying to do. It happens. It's life, right? It can be crappy sometimes. However, if I know how I was motivated and if that really is my best self, it's a consolation. It's not, it doesn't, we can still feel bad, but it is a consolation that I lived according to what I value.
Okay, so we don't have any more questions in the chat. Oh, okay.
If I can just, it's not a question, it's just like sharing a thought.
Sure.
Regarding the exercise that you did with us.
The second one
taken from the Lekes and colleagues, the 4 weeks intervention that you did. I was thinking I have to prepare a study about resilience in children. And I think I got an idea of how to quickly do something similar to what you described. And thinking about whether it could work or not, I was wondering whether there is any research that combines the caring values with resilience, whether caring increases resilience.
You're asking me, I don't know. I won't say there isn't. There's not in my experience. We've done a study on gratitude and the impact on of prompting people on to show gratitude over a period of time, and that was good for their well-being. But resilience, to my knowledge, has not been measured as an outcome variable. The work I would tell you and advise you to look at, there was a researcher, he's at McGill actually, his name is Richard Kestner, Koestner. You might find, look under his work, because he does some of this kind of work and he might have something, but I don't know.
With children you mean?
No, he doesn't work.
Oh,
no.
generally. Okay, I will do so.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thanks.
And there's another question in the chat. So the honesty can eliminate narcissism from the human relationships.
My guess is no. Anyone who works with narcissistic clients will probably agree with that. So when you prime on one side, you weaken the other side. Narcissism isn't a value per se. It isn't a value at all. But you could, I mean, sometimes people who are narcissistic are very concerned about things like appearance values. So, and that's an extrinsic value. So when you prime honesty, it should weaken the opposite. This isn't like the magic bullet though, right? Understand that, that this is something that we can do inside ourselves. I believe that the more we do it individually, the stronger the world gets. I referred to Common Cause before, the Common Cause Foundation in the United Kingdom. They believe that stimulating caring at the organizational level is very important. And they work with nonprofits and museums and football teams and so on to stimulate caring values on a larger perspective. They were responsible for one of the studies that I cited to you today. They do very nice work.
Great. Yeah.
I have a question I want to add, like in the end, in the closing, I will thank you very much for your talk. But for the moment, I've been thinking, because what you said is really very, very interesting. I have to tell you my experience. It was that, you know, the thing that made me more emotional, or I got more connected, it was the examples that you gave with the people and what the people do, like the examples of the hero next door. I found that was really very motivating. It's like, wow, this is really nice.
I know, some of them are amazing,
it's really touching. It's really touching, right? You know, it's like, shit, you can do things, you know, and what it made me understand, or it made clear to me, is like, no matter in what condition you are, no matter in how difficult you are or how small and insignificant you are, there is something you can do. And if you can identify your caring value, even doing a little bit, you know, in relation to this caring value that expresses this caring value, it may have an impact, first of all, on you. You will live better, or will live longer, first of all. And secondly, you gain in years. But also like in getting this fulfillment from helping other people. And my concern was like, how do I keep this in mind? How do I, you know, this value of, you know, helpfulness or another caring value that I have, how can I become aware of this when I am like, you know, trying to get a taxi and I'm pissed off, and how I'm getting this and I'm very, like, is, you know, how is it just to put yourself in that position?
How easy? Well, it's relatively.
What's the method? Is it, yeah.
It's relatively easy. I mean, all the primes that were done in experiments and the primes we did here today were short. It's not huge. It doesn't take a lot of time, but you have to think to do it.
Well, that's it. Like, you know, I have to, like, when you talked about somebody who bugged you, you know, you think that somebody like, you know, who, you know, you upset you, is like, you know, okay, this guy upsets me now. Okay, let me think, and do I feel this and get my value, and then talk to this person. It takes a lot of organization, consciousness, awareness. I don't know how to tell it.
Awareness, I think, is the right word. People who are impulsive will have more difficulty than people who are mindful. I apologize. They're doing some construction above me. You can probably
fair enough. Okay.
But yeah, I like what you said. I think is very true. This is good for us. It's not necessarily easy to do. As I said before, this is not a magic bullet. It takes attention. I mean, one of the reasons I'm here today is I hope that by talking to you about it, I'll raise awareness about it. Maybe you'll want to read about it. Maybe you'll want to log on to Hero Next Door. Maybe you'll talk to your friends about it. All of those things would be great outcomes from my point of view, and they would all be priming you.
Indeed.
And Asimina has raised her hand.
Hello.
Hello.
Thank you. My question is similar to Mr. Stalikas. When you're really upset, of course, we want to stay on our values. We don't want to get out for clothes or anything like that. But when you are really upset, you can't stay. You can follow the value and stay calm.
Okay.
Do you have any advice?
Yes, I do actually. And it's the same advice that your personal would give to you about getting stronger. So don't walk up to a very heavy object and try to lift it up if you haven't been training. Go into training, go to the gym, lift weights, run, do things to get stronger. And then when you need to lift something heavy, you'll have the strength to do it. The same thing with your values. Practice them on a regular basis. Put yourself in contact with them when you don't need to, right? If you do mindfulness work with your clients, I'm sure any of you who prescribe any kind of mindfulness exercise, you don't say to your clients, so when you're really upset and you've lost control, I want you to do a meditation. They won't. It won't help, right? You want them to be doing meditation to keep the baseline of their anxiety or their distress lower and to become more mindful in their life. Same thing with values. You want to be contacting them regularly, stimulating them regularly, thinking about them, writing about them. If you keep a journal, that's a great way to reflect on your values. If you talk to your friends, like maybe you would want to go out from this presentation and talk to people about what you heard or what something that you thought was interesting. That's a way of strengthening it in yourself. Does that address your question in some way?
Yes, it was very helpful. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Well, we're approaching
the time, I think, yeah.
9,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Before we end, I don't know if you will be like, before closing, in a sense, like, how do I get on your YouTube and find your hero? Because I don't have Instagram. So I don't know, how do I get on YouTube?
So,
like I go
hero underscore next door with all one word, next door, hero underscore next door. If you go on YouTube search, you'll find it.
Oh, okay. So
but you have to spell it that way. And that's because there's a fireman who also uses hero next door with spaces in it. And you'll get the fireman first.
Okay. Okay. So it's hero underscore, right?
Hero underscore next door, all one word.
Okay. Thank you. Let me see that. Yeah. Next door. Okay.
And
hero next door.
Mm-hmm. People are writing in the comments. Thank you. Great seminar. Thank you all so much. Have a lovely, caring, festive season. Sophia is not here. Thank you so much. The best Christmas seminar. We do care from Christina. Eleni, a great presentation on a very important topic. Thank you wholeheartedly. NASO's great meeting with exciting experiments. Thanks a lot for this unique experience. Greetings from the Department of History and Archaeology from the National and Kapodistrian University.
Oh,
yeah. And Vlioras, I'm very happy I joined, even for the last minutes. Thanks, thank you very much, May. We all care. And Fotini, we've missed you, values lady.
Hi, Fotini.
Thank you very much. Congratulations from Despina. Yeah.
That's lovely.
I think I got it, right? That's part of it. Is it? Yes.
Yes, that's us. Yep. That's it.
Good.
That's what
I subscribed. So we should all subscribe and give you some.
And tell your friends.
Yeah, we'll keep you subscribed and tell you about
values that you know.
Yeah, that's right. Well, I forgot to tell you in the beginning, I think I said to some of them, not to all of us, that I was on the phone with the president of the Hellenica Psychological Association, Maria Placido, who sent our regards and her thanks. And unfortunately, she sends her you know, her regrets because she wasn't able to be here today. And I want to thank you, all of you guys, for being here today and participating in this conference. Marilyn, it was very, very lovely. Thank you very much. I mean, I know you were friends and were honest with one another. It was one of your best presentations, not because you're not eloquent as usual, but because I think, like, my comment for you, after we talk privately, it will be, use more of your stories. I think the stories, they touched me. When you show how people can help. And I think the important thing for me is, like, you can do little things, even if you're not in a great position or power or whatever, but by doing little things, you know, you create a whole, I think that's the best priming, I think. If you're doing something on a daily basis that does something that has a little bit of good inside, and it's, you know, it's how you call it, σχετικό with who you are, it's like contingent to who you are, you know, in harmony with who you are. It's part of your values. I don't know, Agathi, I'll let you say the latest goodbyes. Thank you from my part. And I'm sure we're going to be talking to you in the near future. Agathi, back to you.
Thank you so much, Marilyn. I was touched too by, well, I was touched, you know, because I feel a little guilty because I don't do much voluntary, you know, things. But when you say some of you are psychologists and you do that in your work, and actually I connected with the compassion and the tenderness and the caring that I feel for all the people that I work with, and that kind of, you know, touched me. So thank you.
You don't have to volunteer to be caring.
Yeah. So yes, so thank you very much. It was really, really important and interesting and touching. And thank you for giving this talk.
You're welcome. Thank you all for coming. I really appreciate it.
And thank you all for coming. And we are going to upload this talk to our website, the Positive Psychology branch of the Hellenic Psychological Society, and also on the Hellenic Psychological Society's YouTube channel. So you'll find it there too.
Very good.
So,
καλά Χριστούγεννα, καλές γιορτές, χρόνια πολλά, καλή χρονιά σε όλους με ασφάλεια. Merry Christmas,
πολλά, να είστε καλά,
Merry Christmas, a Happy New Year, and season greetings to everybody for the holidays. Marilyn, thank you very much.
I will leave you now. It's the middle of the day. I have a client to see.
Okay, be good, take good care. Thank you very much for everything.
Bye.
Bye.
But Agathi, you may take care of, like, stopping the recording and everything, right?
Yes,
okay.
I will.